topic that doesn't come up all that often is to do with the young boy named Sudhana, sometimes Sudhana Kumara. Sudhana here means wealthy or rich, and Kumara just means youthful. But here Sudhana is just a name. But it does prove out to be wealthy in the Dharma. Now, we first hear about this boy from the Avatamsaka Sutra. Avatamsaka Sutra is quite large, and the last chapter is called Gandavyuha. And the Gandavyuha is dealing with this young boy named Sudhana, who's interested in learning about Buddhism. And so he approaches the Buddha, and then the Buddha tells him to go and meet different people. And then in the course of the narrative, he goes and he meets 50 different people, and a lot of them are just very ordinary people, like monks and nuns and householders, perfume vendors, a king, a boy and a girl, I think brother and sister, and then Mahadeva, the great god, Shiva, and then Avalokiteshvara, Maitreya, Manjushri, and ending with the Samantabhadra, the Bodhisattva. So now this is not really a topic that's really very strong in Himalayan art or Tibetan art, but we do find it in crossover Himalayan art with more with Chinese art. And we have very few examples. We have in the Rubin Museum collection, there's a Maitreya Bodhisattva from a set of paintings. I believe the Rubin Museum has the Maitreya and the Manjushri from this. It's most likely a great Bodhisattva set, or it's possibly a set of depictions of Bodhisattvas that relate to specific sutras. However, in the Maitreya painting of the Rubin Museum of Art, there's a small boy standing on a lotus to the lower left, the viewer's lower left. And this small boy is usually seen with his hands folded in a gesture of respect. He often has 3 tufts of hair on his head, and this actually becomes one of his main characteristics for recognizing him. His head is mostly bald except for these 3 tufts of hair. Each one is tied with a ribbon. Now there's 2 ways he can generally be portrayed, either standing with both legs together or kneeling with the right leg down. And this is quite popular also, but more so in sculpture and less so in painting. However, we have an absolutely spectacular textile scroll work from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, and it depicts as the central figure Manjushri of Avadisimha, Manjushri riding a blue lion. And at the lower left, again, we have a kneeling Sudhana, again with the tufts of hair. And there are many sculptures. The most sculptures I've actually seen for Sudhana are in Wutaishan, the famous mountain of Manjushri in China. And that's one of the confusions, that Sudhana can sometimes be mistaken for being a youthful Manjushri or the Hindu god Skanda. He can also be confused for the narrative figure in the monk's journey to the west, where there's a boy named Sudhana. And then we also find the name Sudhana can be in the Jataka and Avadana tales of Shakyamuni Buddha, which can be also depicted in art. So we have to be a little bit careful. Usually Sudhana from the Avatamsaka and from the Gandavyuha chapter will be within a context of a bodhisattva and in some discourse, in some kind of a discourse, or in some kind of a respect or some kind of a narrative context. So that's how we understand Sudhana. So you can press the like button, you can subscribe, you can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also make a donation directly on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.